Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the FLOAUDIO Calla. This is a new company, and this is their single product that they have, the Calla, a single dynamic, which I'll show to you in a second. And when I received the package, I immediately saw some resemblance of AudioSense products. I'm not saying that they are related, please keep that in mind. I'm not saying they're related, but I'm saying that perhaps they come from the same factory. The packaging, the style of the packaging, the actual look of the earphone, very similar. Anyway, this is the box. Very simple, very basic. This is one area where I think FLOAUDIO should consider improving things a little bit. Tips are the most basic of tips that you can possibly find. Actually, it comes just like this. The earphones came inside of a plastic bag as well and everything. A little bit underwhelming, to be honest. The cable is very much a cable found on KZ models. I'm not saying this in a bad way, but KZ is exactly, it's not known for having good cables. It's very tangly, as you can see. Look at this. No. We're talking about an earphone that costs roughly $50. And I've seen better offerings. Actually, I've got in front of us stuff which I will be comparing it with. Therefore, the cable that I'm using with it is not its stock cable. I'm using a cable from another earphone that I had here. The earphones themselves are very, very nice, very, very well built. Resin shell, the rear vent over there, this nice big grill. It hasn't got a front vent, and as a result of not having that front vent, there is some major driver flex when you put on the colors, especially using the 07 tips like I do. Using foams, it's slightly more attenuated, but that's one aspect that again I think FLOAUDIO should address. So that's that. In terms of the overall fit, they fit very nicely. They are basically the same size, and they look exactly the same as the AudioSense AQ0, which is AudioSense's version of a single DD. The shell size, shape, everything is almost identical. It's just the finish. They've got this like kind of lava red. It's very nice. In terms of its overall look, very, very nice. It looks very premium. Okay, it looks very premium. A little bit of a fingerprint magnet because of the finish it's been done, but otherwise very nice. Fit is perfect, noise isolation is perfect. Really can't fault it. It's got decent weight to it, and that's it. All I know about the driver inside is it's a 10mm. I have no idea what diaphragm material is being used. I'm still waiting on an answer on that, but it's also not really entirely a necessity to know. What we need to know is if it plays well or not, and I'll get to that in a second. So yes, in terms of the hardware side of things, this is my honest opinion and my recommendation to FLOAUDIO. They have entered a market which is highly competitive, and they need to address the packaging a little bit more. A decent cable is a must. This is not a cable that, this cable is a cable from a Melee. Costs $50. Okay, this is the cable from a Melee. I've said it. So they can put a better cable, I'm sure. And as well, a little bit more variety in terms of the tips would be nice. And the final aspect to be considered by them and that should be addressed is the driver flex, because it is quite disconcerting. I personally don't like it, and especially when it's as major as it is in this particular model. It really is very, very audible and very strong, and it's all down to the fact that it doesn't have that front driver vent, basically. Okay, anyway, that's that. So what do I have the color here to be compared with, or what did I select to compare the color with? Very simple. I compared it to some, two of them are veterans, and the other three are more recent IEMs. Okay, the two veterans, and the reason why I compared it to any one of these, it's because the sound of the color is very much similar to any one of these, with more emphasis on certain models, or more similarities with certain models than others. Okay, so TFZ number 3, an oldie but goldie, a very, very nice IM from TFZ from a couple of years ago, 2019 if I'm not mistaken. It was known for its bass. Its bass energy was amazing. It didn't have the best of treble extension, but with some careful tip extension, tip selection, that could be resolved. I'm actually using JVC spiral dots on this one, and it made a big improvement. That's number 1. Number 2 is a more recent one, which I personally also like very much, which is the Reecho SG01. There's now the Reecho SG01 Over Edition, which is a limited, or well, not limited edition, but it's a kind of a more premium SG01, and basically the difference is just the color. I mean, I've tested both of them, and honestly, the difference that exists in sound is minimal to none. To be totally frank, it's minimal to none. Then another oldie but goldie, my beloved Blon BL03. I actually selected this one just for the sake of fun. I brought out its other brothers. I've got a silver and I've got a purple back there, and I've still got another case with a few more. I know, I've got some serious problems that should be addressed. But anyway, BL03. And then over here I have two KZs. The EDA balanced, okay, again, an IM that's far surpasses its performance, far surpasses its price tag. And finally, its other brother, its old, well, not older brother, but another brother of the EDA, the EDX Ultra. Again, performance which far exceeds its price tag. In the second part of this video, I'll be showing you the graphs so you'll better understand certain aspects that I've just mentioned about the similarities. Okay. So, on to what we want to know. What's the sound of the color? It's very, look, this is going to be very simple and not too difficult to position. This is a V-shaped signature. It's a reasonably well done V-shaped signature. And had this earphone come out, let's say 2019, 2020, it would be an instant success. It would. It's a nice, fun, engaging sound, very tonally correct, but its emphasis on the bass has kind of spoiled how it then lets the mids vocals come across. You might be saying, but then how is it tonally correct? Well, it's tonally correct because you can identify and accept the sound of the instruments as being what it's being portrayed, although they have a sense of warmth which is a little bit excessive, but it's correct. It's not that you listen to a certain instrument and it doesn't sound like that instrument. No, it's just over warm, that's all. But nothing that is, in my opinion at least, offensive, and that doesn't give it its deserved merit and value. It sounds good, it sounds fun, but having that extra warmth that it has, it shuts down voices, and especially female voices can sound a little bit more overly done, in the sense that they're just, you lose that kind of clarity that you would like certain voices to have. Well, female voices at least. As for the technicality side of things, well, what can I say? There is ample extension to give it a decent amount of detail retrieval. Both micro and macro details are fine, or okay. Whether or not those details are sufficient when you consider the price, that's a different story. But as for what it is and for what it's attempting to do, it's fine. Soundstage is a little bit closed, in my opinion. Imaging is fine, it's acceptable. Okay, so basically in a nutshell, that's it. It's a fun sounding IM that perhaps just came to the market a little bit too late, and especially in a market that currently lives an era where things are highly competitive. Excuse me. So when I take the color, for example, and I start comparing it with some of the IMs that I have behind me, for example, with the TFC, okay, with the TFC, the color is superior to the TFC in terms of the clarity that it offers up top, although not significantly more. It offers a little bit more clarity up top, and it kind of sounds a little bit more open than the TFC, all right? But the rest of the time, the TFC is a superior IM. The bass is quicker, it's more textured, although it's also got a lot of bass, and it's a bass monster in its own way. It's just a better overall IM. Fair enough. I mean, this was a totally different priced IM when it was available. You can pick it up now at anywhere between $60 and $90, depending which is the vendor. So, you know, it is what it is. Compared to the SG01, the Reecho, well, metal shell. So in terms of construction, of build quality, I would say the SG01 is a superior IM. In terms of the accessories that the SG01 brings as well, again, it's a superior IM. And then we're talking about $45 roughly. And then in terms of sound, the SG01 is superior in every way. I mean, I don't want to say this in a way that seems like I'm detracting value from the color, but I'm just calling things by its name. This sounds unquestionably better than the color. There's proper extension up top. There's proper that sense of airiness of that it exists here on the Reecho. The bass is more than ample, more mid bass focused than sub bass focused, but both of both of those come across nicely. Great mids. The SG01, you could consider this as kind of a less bassy BL03 with a little bit more extension up top, and you know, I guess that says it all. It's a really nice sounding IM, and an IM that takes very well to modding, mind you, very well. With a simple mod, this thing becomes a total beast. Okay, so the SG01 superior to the color. BL03 is probably the one that well, the BL and the SG, they graphed very similar, but again, it's interesting because although we have basically the same kind of amount of bass here as on the color is maybe about an extra 2 dBs. The mids of the BL03 are just fantastic, in my opinion, for the IM that it is, and for the fact that I mean, you can pick this up now for $26 at like Linsol. You know, you're picking up an IM which is equally well built. Okay, maybe fair enough in terms of its fit. It's not the ideal for everybody, and in terms of accessories as well, it's basically on par with the color. But it sounds tremendous. It sounds tremendous. Even in stock format, it sounds tremendous. And you guys that follow me, if you've seen my mod, which I've called the Bloxygen, I mean, this thing becomes a beast. A beast. So I'm sorry to say, but this again is superior to the color. And then we have the two KZ brothers. Both of them having the fact that they cost roughly $20, $20 odd dollars each, either one of them. That's their price tag. And again, in terms of accessories, they're on par with the color. But then the sound that they both put out is once again superior to the color. And that's where it's actually interesting, because when you look at the graphs, they all kind of graph almost the same, but it's then the sound that comes through which is completely different, which is then obviously a factor which is determined by the driver quality. So I'm guessing that the driver quality, yeah, is decent, but not superior to any one of these, and thus that shows off in how it then comes across when reproducing music. I mean, the EDA, probably one of the first more well-tuned IEMs of this latest generation of dynamic drivers, and the Ultra, an improvement over that in the sense that it gives a little bit more extension up top. But either one of them, tremendous IEMs, great bass, good control on the bass, good mids. I mean, the really only maybe nitpicking that you could do is that the treble, yeah, can sometimes be a little bit harsh, but I mean, honestly, for the price they have, you can't really complain too much. So that's it. I mean, guys, look, when I saw the FLOAUDIO, I was straight away very interested, and I said, no, I want to review this because this looks interesting. But the reality is this: if you own a Reecho SG01, this is not an upgrade. If you have a Blon, this is not an upgrade. If you have the TFZ, this is not an upgrade. And if you have either one of the KZs as well, and I could have mentioned many more IAMs, it's not an upgrade. It is a IAM that has a lot of potential, in my opinion. It does, and I think that if they address the issue of the accessories, to have it more packaged up nicely, that will be a point towards helping it become more sellable. And also, if they do a touch up in the tuning, then that definitely will help. If they bring down the bass slightly on this, okay, so that it's not so V-shaped, and they just clear up the mids a little bit, well, by bringing down the bass, immediately the mids will clear up by default. But if they just adjust things slightly there, this has the potential to become a much more interesting IM, and one that then can at least trade some blows with what is available in the market. As it stands, it's just another one, and it actually, I feel a certain amount of sadness in saying this, because there's potential here. There is definitely some true potential in this IM. Okay, anyway guys, second part I'll be showing you the graphs and comparing them briefly, and that's it. As always, like and subscribe. If there's any questions, please reply. I apologize beforehand for sometimes being a little bit delayed in my replies, but it's just so overwhelming. And I'm also trying a new microphone. For those that have mentioned that my microphone sounds sometimes a little bit off, so please do let me know if this microphone is better. It's a lavalier. It's, I think, microphone number 5, so let's see if this one finally hits the mark. Alright, thank you, take care. Hi guys, and welcome to my section of the graphs. Straight away, as you can see, this is the graph of the FLOAUDIO Calla, and as I mentioned, loads and loads of bass energy. I mean, it's just a little bit excessive in my opinion, okay? Decent enough pin gain, nothing too offensive. I mean, we're talking about roughly 10 dBs, and then it's got this slight recession here with this peak then at 5. But funny enough, actually, sibilancy is not an issue with the Calla. Then the coupler related peak, and then extension past that. This is with the stock tips, which look very much like KZ stock tips as well, to be honest. And this, now the blue line, is with the 07 tips. Actually, let me just put this in black so that it stands out slightly. So that's in black. Mainly, basically, it maintains it's everything very similar. Sorry, it just changes slightly the profile here. I was having a little bit trouble in matching it up with the 8K peak because of the size of the 07 tip, but I prefer it with the 07 tip, and I did most of the listening with the 07 tip. Okay, so let me just take away that one. I'm just going to leave it with the stock tips. Compared here with the compared here with the TFZ, there we go. As you can see, a lot of similarities in terms of the bass. Very similar, the kind of same little small dip. Again, I was having a lot of trouble with getting the peak here to match the 8K peak because of the spiral dots. The shape of the tip is not exactly very nice, but you can definitely see there's less energy past 8K, and that makes the Calla sound a little bit more open sounding. There's a little bit more sense of air in the Calla. Okay, but otherwise the TFC is a superior IEM. I mean, it's just better. If maybe the Calla had a slightly less bass like the TFZ, that would open up the mids as well in a different fashion. That maybe could help. But anyway, it is what it is. Okay, so that's the TFZ there. As compared with the Blon, as you can see, very similar. I mean, the similarities are just uncanny, actually. I even question myself if there couldn't be even a possibility of it using the same driver. It's almost the same kind of amount of bass, the same peaks, everything very equal. But the secret of the Blon is here. This gives the clarity. This gives the clarity to the Blon, which the Calla does not have. And although graphically you see things being so similar, you would think that they would sound the same. No, the Blon does sound better. The mids have got the mids and the vocals here just have this more correct to them that the color doesn't have. The color just sounds, I'm guessing I could say huskier in the female voices. The rest of the instruments, they sound for the most part, like I said, fine. I mean, tonally the color definitely is, that's the standout feature I think of the color, is that it's tonally it's been very correctly done, although not perfect, but it's very well done. Okay, let me get the Reecho. No, sorry, I'll just show you the Blon's, yeah, oh sorry, yeah, there we go. Reecho SG01, SG01. There we go, Reecho SG01. Change the color so we can see a little bit better and line it. There we go. Okay. Again, this is where the Reecho stands out with regards to the color, less bass energy, more correctly, more balanced out, a little bit more energy in the 2 to 5K area, which again helps out. And then loads of extension past there. I mean, if I put in the Blon, you can see what I was mentioning, that the Reecho is a kind of a slightly more opened up Blon because of this difference here. The extension is basically the same, the bass is basically the same. It's just extra energy here that the Reecho has, which gives it that characteristic. So the Blon and the Reecho are very similar sounding, just one more open than the other. But the Reecho compared to the color, it's a better IM. The SG01 is just a better IM. It's just overall a better sounding IM and costs less money. It's better accessorized. So that's it. And then compared to the two KZ offerings, this one here is the EDA balanced. Very similar bass signature. Actually, compared with the EDA, the bass version, the bass is the same, but it's just the way that the mids here come across on the EDA. Although by looking at them, you think they will be more recessed, but no, they actually sound more open. There's more mid energy here than in the color, and the extension up top is basically very similar. Actually, I would say that the EDA again stands out. And finally, this is the red line is the graph of the Ultra, which again is superior. It's got slightly less bass energy than the color, but everything is just more coherently balanced. I mean, we're talking everything in the EDX Ultra stays within 83, stays within 10 dBs. That's very good. That's very nice. Even less if I actually consider that the peak of it's within 9 dBs, which is pretty decent. So that's that, guys. Color, interesting IM, a valid attempt in my opinion, but it's a little bit too late. This signature is a little bit outdated in my opinion, but there's potential here to improve on it. They bring down the bass slightly. If they bring down the bass 3-4 dBs, that would be ideal. And if they try as well plateau this here a little bit more, that would also be an improvement. Maybe have it peak at 2.5 and then slowly taper down. I think that would make an improvement. Yes, it would be a curve that is very similar to many other IMs, but you know what? I'm very much of the opinion that if something is working for others and what you are doing is not exactly bringing any added benefit, then just go with what the others are doing, and at least that way you can guarantee some sales. Otherwise, as it stands in this format, I feel that it's not going to be terribly successful. Definitely not. And I feel sorry for that. I really am. I wish that I wasn't having to say that, but this is just me being as honest and as sincere as possible. Anyway, guys, that's that. Again, like and subscribe. Any questions, anything, please feel free to ask. Thank you. Take care.